are bringing all the great things happening at our local high schools to the radio in January. We're hitting the road for the WHOW High School Road Tour. Join us when we broadcast live from Maroa Forsyth High School from 9 till 10 in the morning on Tuesday, January 20th. Interviewing the Maroa Forsyth High School principal, athletic director, student council president, and one of the club's student presidents. The third annual WHOW High School Road Tour stop at Maroa Forsyth High School is brought to you by this sponsor, Waits Dry Cleaners, located at 115 Magnolia Drive in Forsyth. We specialize in dry cleaning and alterations.
You're bringing Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers. Morning, Chief. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I am well. I could go for more days like yesterday, 50 degrees, and not too shabby, you know?
It has been quite a winter, hasn't it?
It really
I mean,
has.
we go from 50, almost 60 at times, and sunny to there a few weeks ago. Was it right before Christmas, I think? You know, the 6-8 inches of snow and sub-zero temperatures. So,
And the next week it's gone.
yeah, you know, that old adage that if you don't like the weather, stick around a few days, it'll change.
Yeah.
We're in central Illinois, and it just seems like, I don't know if it's me or what, but it just seems like that's never been so prevalent as it has been this winter. In the changes, the significant changes in temperatures just in a matter of a couple days. And it looks like we're headed into a cold snap here for maybe the next week or so. By the weekend, I think we're going to be back down into some, single digits and teens or below zero wind chills. So here we are. And as much as anything, as I say, as I'm out and about, if we can just have sunshine and no wind, the temperature doesn't bother me as much as just those gloomy skies and the wind. And so we just get some sunshine and no wind. I'll take that.
Yep, for sure. I don't know if you're active on Instagram, but there's a couple of guys that have a visa to the United States from England, and they talk about like 35 degrees, like it's so cold and they're gonna die. Like in England, that's like zero for us,
right?
And it's just so funny to watch them like freeze their butts off in 35 degree weather. It's like, dude, I'll put shorts on in that weather, man.
Well, it is. I mean, this time of year, it just seems like such an up and down roller coaster with our weather. And with that, as we were talking before we went on air, that can oftentimes bring an uptick for us in first responders, but also our folks in the mental health industry. We do seem to see kind of an uptick in that whole seasonal depression, that lack of vitamin D, that lack of sunshine and whatnot. And so that does have an effect on our workload, and maybe also in combination with the holidays. That seems to be, one of our busier times of year when it comes to, I talk often about early in my career, you back up 30 years, I would say that a vast majority of the things that we dealt with had a substance abuse faction behind them, whether that was alcohol or substance abuse, whether it was domestic violence or burglary and theft and things of that nature, property crimes. It seemed like the vast majority had some type of a substance abuse faction behind them. And now we deal with so much still substance use disorder, but also mental health. And so, we're adapting to that over the last several years with more training, trying to be more prepared for those types of things. But it's still a very understaffed system and an undersupported system to deal with some of the mental health that we do. And so, our officers and our EMTs and everybody, all of the stakeholders involved, we're seeing an uptick in mental health responses. And again, I guess I'm relating that to our conversation here as to this time of year and coming out of the holidays, the cold weather, the gloomy skies. I mean, we need that occasional sunshine and a warm day for people to get out, get some oxygen, get some vitamin D, stretch their wings a little bit. So
I want to ask, how does that play itself out in terms of, response calls that you may get as a department? Because I mean, obviously substance abuse has its own unique call, the way that you respond to calls and such.
I guess separating the two out there, when it comes to substance use disorder, a lot of times substance use disorder and mental health crisis oftentimes are coexisting, but also they also oftentimes have a criminal element involved, whether that's, a lot of times it's crimes against property, but it could be domestic violence or trespass type issues. Disturbance type situations. And so, recognizing that whether there's a law to be enforced when we, oftentimes we're the peacekeeper, we're the first responder. And so many of those situations that we get there, we assess what's happened, what's going on, and we take it from there. And there's multiple avenues, whether that be an arrest, whether that be a referral to a deflection program or something like that. Oftentimes police officers, they are the first point of contact along with EMS and sometimes fire. But oftentimes the law enforcement is the first step in that and the first point of contact in many of all of those situations. And so, we're in a better place today than we were even a year ago. We're a very proactive agency with our partner with the DART, which is the Deflection Avenues Reconnection Team. DART is our local multi-county organization of TASK, which is Treatment Alternatives for Safe Communities. And what happens there is when one of our officers responds to a scene and he recognizes that there's maybe a substance abuse faction there, maybe there's not a crime, maybe there is or isn't a crime to be enforced and arrest to be made, but even if they recognize that, maybe the root of this issue is a mental health or substance use disorder problem, we can make a referral to DART. And what they do is DART sends out within the next 24 to 48 hours, DART's going to send out a deflection specialist. And this is oftentimes a person who is trained in that crisis response, but also a person with lived experience. And, for me to sit down with an addict and talk about and try to motivate and inspire to guide that person to a safer path, I'm all about that, and I'm very passionate about that. But when you can provide a person who has walked in their shoes with that same message, it's so much more impactful to them to be able to talk to somebody who has lived their life, who has walked in their shoes. And I think that degree of rapport coming from someone like that has been very, very successful for us. They're not always successful. I know Chief Meister was on here just recently talking about Lincoln and Logan counties new program, which is equivalent to our DART. It's their task program. The Clinton Police Department has been extremely proactive with that and very supportive, and it has been very successful for us on many, many occasions.
Really?
That ties in with the Safe Passage program that we've offered in the past, providing a fast track to get individuals into treatment who are ready and willing. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, Seth, it's nearly impossible to help someone who's not ready and willing to help themselves.
Right.
That is very difficult. It's very discouraging. I'm oftentimes talking to the family members and the close loved ones of that person struggling. What can we do? Well, it's nearly impossible to help someone that's not ready to help themselves. But when they are, we need to be that bridge to be able to help guide them to those resources to be able to do so. And I think we're doing a good job of that. I think we've come a long ways with recognition and trying to eliminate or at least decrease stigma through things like ROSC. We've got our local ROSC program, the Recovery Oriented Systems of Care, providing more resources and support services for those living in recovery in our small community. One of the things that we struggle with in a small community is our available resources that we have here locally. And then for those individuals who are seeking a lifestyle in recovery, oftentimes transportation is an issue for them. While those services might be offered in Bloomington or Decatur, oftentimes transportation is an issue. So through things like ROSC and DART, I guess we just have more acceptance and acknowledgement of we've got an issue. We don't just have an issue here in Clinton, DeWitt County. It's everywhere, but we're addressing it. And we're bringing people together to provide those resources to try to help guide in a more positive path. And I'm extremely passionate about that and thankful that we're in a better place than we were.
Yeah.
So,
How does that how does that play itself out in whether it's mitigating future issues with that individual, or just curbing the issue altogether? How about that?
I'm not going to take credit for this because there's no point in reinventing the wheel, and so I went down and I spent an entire day with Chief in Taylorville. The Taylorville Police Department, I believe it's Chief Wheeler, is kind of leading the charge in safe passage, and what that has done for his community. Was extremely impressed with, not only are we providing these resources and providing this support, but what I was so impressed with in talking with him and his safe passage staff was, I believe Denise Evans is her name, is the fruits of that labor when those people come back into the community. It's building a rapport with a faction of people that before were running from the police and avoiding the police. Does that make sense? And so, he shared with me some success stories of people who have come back to the community. They then become spokespersons and champions for others struggling. They know what's going on the inside. They're able to help guide law enforcement to criminal behavior. They're able to help assist law enforcement with connecting people with other resources. And so I brought that back very motivated and whatnot. And that's been some time ago. But to be able to offer safe passage, and that fits in with the DART program and the deflection that we're utilizing now. Now, I don't at all want that to be perceived as a view of being soft on crime. I believe that actions come with consequences, but when someone, so we make an arrest, hey, they navigate the process, the judicial process, they serve their time. If during that period they're looking for an avenue for a safer, criminal-free lifestyle in the future, why would we not be trying to support that and doing what we can to support their journey in doing so? It's hard to put a price on. We've had a handful of cases just in the last couple months with very positive outcomes where we have connected individuals. And again, it's not us doing the work, it's us making that connection. And so I can't say enough good about the DART program and what it has offered in our small community, in guiding and putting some people on a safe path, a healthier path. So anyways, we were talking about the weather, and
that's
got
all right.
Completely off on that. But the two kind of go hand in hand as we talk about right now, this time of year, especially where we start to see some seasonal depression, maybe an increase in some substance use disorder type things and mental health crisis. And I guess I just wanted to make a point of how we don't have a perfect system, but we're so much better today than we were even a couple of years ago by bringing stakeholders together, working together, acknowledging that something needs to be done, and working together to eliminate and reduce some stigma and connect those people with the proper resources. And I'm pretty proud of that we've been able to do that. Again, not taking the credit myself. It's everyone together working together. And it's been very successful, and I think we're headed in the right direction there.
Well said, Chief. Well, I'll tell you what, on that note, let's take a break, come back with some more. Clinton Police Chief Ben Lauer's in studio with us. More to come with the Chief on the morning show.
WHOW.
Happy New Year from all of us here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Most of our customers trade for a different SUV or truck because their needs change each year. That's good because we have transportation options for you. Plus, we need your trade. Our selection of top quality, pre-owned trades come from you. Come see our ever-changing Chevrolet and Buick inventory today. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton, talking about continuing to serve the community through new ownership.
things came together, and we reached an agreement to purchase. And as you mentioned, we closed August the 1st. So that's August the 1st. Miller Media Group is now Hart Media Group, and we're continuing to serve the people of Clinton and DeWitt County and Monticello and Bloomington and Decatur and everywhere, because we'll just keep connecting people as we've been doing.
The Hart Media Group looks forward to continuing to serve the community for years to come.
Now there's one web portal for local agriculture radio programming in Central Illinois.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Local farm programming streamed live and archived to hear anytime.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Hear the morning and noon farm shows with local agriculture news and interviews.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Plus, hear all of your favorite agriculture farm shows, including RFD Illinois, AgriTalk, RFD Today, and the Closing Market Report.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
It's agriculture grown locally, streamed live, and archived to hear anytime.
IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
A service of the Miller Media Group.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lauer's in studio with us this morning. Chief, I know DARE about to get started in CES. Can't believe it's that time of the year already.
It is mid-January. That's when we start our DARE program in the Clinton School District. And, you know, before our break, talking about, you know, some of the struggles, mental health, substance use disorder, things of that nature. And then right here into the DARE program, you know, being engaged with the 5th grade students and our upper elementary students of our Clinton School District. And so looking forward to that, as we always do. You know, Officer Mayer in the school doing a fantastic job, taking over for Officer Bennett a couple years ago, and that program has enhanced so much over the years with the different programs that Officer Bennett introduced to the system, and Cody Mayer taking over. I can't say enough good about that, and kudos to our guys our staff that have done that, and the partnership that we have with the school to be able to do so. But yep, the DARE program coming up, you know, began in I believe, you know, I may be corrected on this, but I believe the DARE program was introduced to the Clinton School District in 1992 by now Sheriff Mike Walker. And he introduced the program. I believe that was under maybe Sheriff Gib Burke at the time when they brought it to the Clinton School District. He was joined then, I believe, the next year or two when Chief Mike Reedy came to Clinton. He joined them, and I believe they co-taught it for the first 8 years or so. And then, you know, Chief Reedy really became the face of the DARE program through the late 90s, 2000s, until his retirement in 2013. And I can tell you, very, very passionate about the program, very passionate about all programs dealing with children. You know, Chief Reedy was dubbed the children's chief out in Maine before he came to Clinton, and rightfully so. So the DARE program, I remember, you know, Chief Reedy wouldn't share it with anybody during his tenure. And so, but I do know that as he kind of prepared me to take over his role as he retired, he had told me at one time that I promise you'll get 10 times more out of being a DARE officer than you'll ever put into it. And while it's a lot of work and a lot of focus during that time, he's absolutely right. You know, the opportunity to have become a DARE officer was great. Love to work with the kids. It's worked out real well. Officer Bennett and I kind of team taught it, and now Officer Mayer and I are kind of team teaching it as well. And so, you know, here it's a 10-week curriculum. We'll actually spend 12 to 14 weeks with different activities that we do, and a field trip or two along the way, and a couple extra lessons that we offer. But, you know, the DARE program is a 10-week curriculum. You know, it's not the DARE program of the 80s and 90s. It's no longer the Nancy Reagan Say No to Drugs. The DARE program was revamped in 2015, actually just as I was becoming a DARE officer, to address some of the issues, you know, to update and modernize the issues that kids today are facing. Quite frankly, the kids of 2026 aren't facing the same issues that the kids of 1984 were addressing. And so, you know, we address things like, you know, obviously bullying is a big aspect of that, but we do talk about, in the 10-week curriculum, there's only one lesson that addresses alcohol and tobacco, specifically, and drugs. But, you know, we talk about confident communication. We talk about making good decisions and how to make good decisions. There's a decision-making model that we share with them. And while the DARE program over the course of the last couple decades has obtained some nationwide scrutiny. I know some programs have eliminated their DARE program. We continue to foster it. I'm passionate about it. Not only do I think that it provides good lessons, but you know what? It provides a positive interaction between our local law enforcement community and the youth of our community.
Right.
And I can't tell you what that has done over the decades that it's been offered here. But what I have seen in the last decade, this will be my 11th year as a DARE officer. I believe it's Officer Mayor's third. But the fruits of that labor, when you see people out in the community, now my first DARE class are now adults. And so, I can run into someone in the grocery store, Chief Flowers, I had you in DARE, and so, when I took over as chief 12 years ago, law enforcement was kind of taking a beating on a national scale due to a couple events that had occurred and just kind of an overall shift in the climate to law enforcement. And, as part of our strategic plan, which I hope we'll talk about sometime here soon, I know you guys were talking about that the other day with the mayor and city administrator. 12 years ago when I took over, one of the focuses in our strategic plan internally within the department was to foster a positive outlook on law enforcement and to start that with the younger generation. Now, knowing then, would I ever see the fruits of that labor during my career? I'm not sure. I am. But to enhance that school program, to enhance the DARE program, we added programs at both the junior high and high school level. As I tell them all the time, there's a great big ocean out there. We're just responsible for this small puddle. And through programs like the DARE program, our awareness program, our driver's ed program, now he just introduced this year, the Aware with Mayor at the junior high age, constantly interacting with those kids and providing a positive encounter between our local law enforcement and the youth of our community, I hope we'll be investing in the future and that relationship that we have with our community moving forward.
Have you seen the fruits of that? I mean, I know you talk about the interactions like at the grocery store, or, Tractor Supply.
But you know what? We also see that with some parents. We see that with the parents as well. Hey, my kid came home and was telling me that, they had you in the DARE program and things like that. So, no, I do think it is. I think being engaged and especially engaging now not only at the second and or fifth grade level, but also then continuing that engagement through the junior high and the high school. I do. I think we're seeing that on a regular basis, that positive interaction, that positive outlook on our local law enforcement. And I do attribute a lot of that to the great individuals that we have working in the school that are connecting with the kids and the programs that we've offered to those kids throughout their time in the Clinton School District. And so I think that's a good thing. Very proud of that.
Very good. Well, on that note, Chief, I've got about a minute left with you. Anything we haven't touched on today you want to put out there for us?
No, we're coming on tax season. And I know I saw just yesterday, the sheriff, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the sheriff mentioned, one of the popular ones going around right now that we encountered actually in late November on a pretty significant scale was, it's tax season, it's scam season, it's always scam season, but especially during tax season. What is the scam about being contacted by phone by law enforcement advising of a warrant? You got to do this or that, to take care of that warrant. Make sure absolutely law enforcement's never going to contact you. There's so many things wrong with that, but first and foremost, law enforcement is never going to contact you and advise you that you have a warrant and that there's a way to take care of it over the phone. So, talk to your older relatives and those that may not track as well sometimes on a daily basis, and just raise awareness to these possible scam attempts. They're running rampant, and especially as we're getting into tax season, we're going to see more of that. So just be very vigilant. Have those conversations around the dinner table with your friends and family.
Chief, always good to see you, my friend. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you.
That's Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers in studio with us this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, along with 92.3 FM Clinton and 106.5 FM Bloomington Normal.
Judge is signaling fast trials and executions of those arrested in nationwide protests. The Iranian regime's brutal crackdown on dissent has claimed more than 2,500 lives so far. As he weighs options, President Trump is vowing to come to the aid of the Iranian freedom fighters challenging the tyrants in Tehran.
I say save their names because they'll pay a very big price. And I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. And all I say to them is help is on its way.